focus on him and his team.
Right. Daryl Malik Wiley worked for the Sierra Club as an environmental justice organizer in New Orleans and have been working on Katrina issues since 2005.
How long have you been working with the Sierra Club?
I started as a volunteer in 1972, so I have been involved with Sierra Club since then, but I got hired in 2004. So 4 years now I've been working for them full time.
You worked on many
projects. Before Katrina, I was mainly working on petrochemical pollution up and down between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. There's 150 petrochemical facilities, so I was mainly working with communities about air pollution plans.
And with the current Katrina situation, in your opinion, what is the how much of the formaldehyde do you think contributes to the suffering, continued suffering?
Right, I think the formaldehyde issue is part of the ongoing problem with the fact that FEMA put people into housing that had high levels of formaldehyde, that people already were stressed with the whole situation of being out of their home, and then you put them in a facility that in some cases makes them sicker, so that's ongoing exposure to this. And the whole way FEMA has treated people with regard to housing and emergency housing, just it's un-American in many ways. The stories we've heard from different folks, it seems like every week there's a different rumor about what's going to happen or what's not going to happen, and there's no straight talking from FEMA or the Department of Housing and THH, HUD. It's just been an ongoing situation where it's one rumor after another and no real definitive information about trailers, what their exposure is, no kind of tracking of who's been exposed to what levels. It's just been a real nightmare for folks living in trailers.
What are some of the symptoms that you've heard, some of the things that people have
Yes, some of the symptoms, the runny nose, actual nosebleeds, headaches. One of my friends down in the lower ninth ward, Gina, she's no longer in the trailer because it just made her so sick, but she ran up thousands of dollars of medical bills that FEMA now doesn't want to reimburse because they say it's not related to the formaldehyde. Well, that's what, so that's another problem is medical expenses are coming out of people's pockets and FEMA's not willing to reimburse people for their testing and care. So it's been an ongoing nightmare.
What do you think that Washington could do to help mitigate this?
I think a couple things. One, they need to have some, good standards for levels of formaldehyde in trailers. There needs to be and they need to, talk with manufacturers about manufacturing trailers that have no levels of formaldehyde. They need to have a meaningful way to deal with emergency situations like Katrina. We know there will be additional hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes or fires where you're going to need emergency housing, and the current model is just not working. The idea of you roll in a trailer, it just doesn't work. There needs to be some better way to handle helping people get back in their lives. And the life cycle cost of FEMA trailers, we've heard numbers from $200,000 to $300,000. If you would have given an individual homeowner $200,000, they'd be back in their house. They could have, but it's always been nickeling and diming them. You may be given, $100 here and $500 here, but never enough capital to help them really get back into their homes.
What do you think? What do you think that Baton Rouge could do?
I think the state government has not been as aggressive as I think they need to be as far as trying to look at the air pollution problems inside the homes. The Department of Health and Hospitals has not really addressed the issue at all. They haven't put out any kind of alert to the medical professionals in Louisiana about formaldehyde, what symptoms to look for. The CDC has not done that either, Community Center for Disease Control. So there's been a real lack of information on the medical side. People would come in with symptoms that, and the doctors wouldn't understand that what was happening was just because they were living in formaldehyde trailers.
Many of these people have cancer, many people have other concomitant illnesses, whether they're related, whether they have occurred before or after Katrina, but it seems that everything seems to be much worse. Children getting sick, constantly dying when they're living in the trailer exposure. But there's no way, from what you see, you've met with everybody, people the lady Sandra who put in contact with me, she told me that she noticed masses growing on her lungs. So she didn't have that before. She's been in a trailer for even 2 years.
Yeah, it's the whole issue with formaldehyde, since it's a known carcinogen and putting people at risk, elevated risk, especially children, elderly. Some of the bunk beds, they're very confined. There's not a lot of air ventilation, so you're exposing a child 8 hours or 10 hours a night to high levels of formaldehyde. So it's in our view very disingenuous of the Department of FEMA to talk about, that they're doing the right thing for people. It's just not. They haven't done all they can do to minimize exposure to this hazard, and their whole response to the disaster in New Orleans, as far as housing, has just not been there. It's just not been adequate.